Welcome guys, and in today's video we're going to be talking about three center defensive midfielders that Man United should get to push us to at least challenging for the league next season. In our previous video we talked about three center midfielders that we should buy, and the top of that list being, well, you'll find out in the video linked up here. Now in today's video, center defensive midfielders. By center defensive midfielders, I'm talking about a player to replace Michael Carrick. So we're not just going to talk about different names just because, oh, they can play CM or they can play CDM, because that was discussed in the previous video. But in today's one, we're going to talk about three options. I feel really if you take any of these three, everybody would be happy with them. But for different reasons, they are different positions in the ranking. So without further ado, let's get into the top three choices that I have put up. Option number 3 in my list is Angelo. Guys, when I talk about Angelo, we're talking about young Toni Kroos, Michael Carrick. By default, you already understand what kind of a player Angelo is. I don't even need to talk about anything else. At the same time, he does take set pieces for Sttutgart. So if we want more players to contribute to the amazing set pieces that we're taking right now, Angelo can be one of them on the list. But set pieces isn't really a reason to buy a centre midfielder, is he? Exactly, and that's why I'm saying Angelo, even though he's number 3, he would be very high up on the technical list. The simple thing is the guy can pass, he can put in those line-breaking passes, he can calm the play down, he can control the tempo of a game. He will be on the list, not of just us, but he will be on the list of Liverpool, he will be on the list of Real Madrid, he will be on the list of Bayern Munich, of elite clubs around Europe. And the simple reason being, first of all, the guy technically is one of the best midfielders that we can get around the world. In fact, you could even technically say on the market, he is the best technical midfielder out there. But it's not just his pass accuracy. It's not just how he puts in line-breaking passes. It's not just how calm he plays the game with or how easy he makes the game look. But it's also the price point, because he has almost a 40 million euro release clause when he's valued at 50 million euros. He's valued at 50 million euros, people say, but he's probably way higher when you consider the kind of player that we're getting. And if you guys watched the Barcelona-Newcastle game, it was a simple lesson as to who usually wins in a battle between physicality and technical ability. Because in that first half, we thought, well, Barcelona are really struggling. Even at the Nou Camp, Newcastle were almost matching them band for band. But when it came to the second half, when Newcastle started getting a little bit nervous, that's when Barcelona's technical ability exploited anything Newcastle was trying to do. And what ended up happening? In the second half alone, it was a 5-0 on aggregate. And that's why they blew Newcastle apart 7-2. And simple reason being, you have midfielders like Pedri, you have your Fermin Lopez's, you have Lamine Yamal, your players who can really keep the ball in close spaces and move it very fast. Why do I bring up Pedri? Why do I bring up Yamal? The thing is, Angelo is the exact breed of midfielder. He is exactly Pedri. The only thing is, he just doesn't have the name. He doesn't have the popular, let's say the popular PR around him. And that's the only reason that's separating him from being in the same conversations as Pedri. Bring him to United and maybe he just brings that same level that he's brought to Sttutgart all these years. The reason why Sttutgart are performing at that level, the tempo is controlled by Angelo. For 40 million, he's a steal, by the way. Don't ever get that wrong, because even if he doesn't succeed here, hypothetically, you can easily sell him for 60, 70, 80 million in the future to any other club that you want. Whether it be Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, people will be lining up. Number 2 on this list is SandroTonali. Now, I mentioned Angelo. He's nearly flawless. The only reason I put him at number 3 is because he does not have Premier League experience. Upgrade to SandroTonali. He may not be as technically insane on the ball as Angelo, but the guy gives you world-class performances game in, game out. If not world-class performances, he gives you a 7 out of 10 every game, which is what I want from a recruit that we're trying to buy in this position. We need midfielders who can really react and who can perform for us right now. We are trying to set up a team who is going to challenge for the Premier League next season. And if we're going to challenge for the Premier League next season, we need players who have had Premier League experience, who have had Champions League experience, and players who can really do that either the CDM role or the CM role as well. Tonali can play centre midfielder, but so Tonali, if you guys have watched him at AC Milan, he used to play holding midfielder, well, with Frank Kessie moving as a centre midfielder. Though people used to say that they would invert and they would rotate between each other, SandroTonali was more of a centre defensive midfielder because that's where he was brought in as from Brescia. And ever since then, he's not looked back. Since he's come into the Premier League, he's scored goals, even against United, if you were to talk about it. He's given assists against us, he's scored goals against us, so it's not just the defensive aspect. But whenever you line up against BrunoGuimaraes and SandroTonali, you have a hard day ahead of you. And everybody recognizes this. This is why we're not going to be the only team in for SandroTonali. If we were in for him, Arsenal are already leading the race for him apparently, and you'd want to get ahead of them. But here is the roadblock. Why is SandroTonali not number one? Because he has Premier League experience, Champions League experience. He's been captain of AC Milan at such a young age, which is no joke, by the way. And despite all this, I have him at number 2 for the simple reason, his price point. Because I talked about Angelo just now. He was about 40 million euros. The number 1 pick is also cheaper than SandroTonali's 100 million pounds that they're talking about. Can I blame Newcastle really? Not really, because he is one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. But if we were to go on pure talent alone, SandroTonali is up there. But for the price point, maybe we could do a little bit better. And what I mean by a little bit better is my number 1 pick, a man who plays at Crystal Palace, a man who plays for England. His name is AdamWharton. Now, I've seen a lot of talk about people really questioning AdamWharton, or because he does not have the goals or assists. He's not as flashy on the eye. Guys, when I talk about a player who can dictate from deep, when I talk about a player who is the embodiment of what I saw at Man United, and even in the later years of Michael Carrick, that is what I see in AdamWharton. He does not have problem with physicality. He does not have problems with line-breaking passes. He does not have problems dealing with the biggest moments in even a mid-table club, if you want to say. He does not have problems with controlling tempo, because he is one of the best controllers of tempo I've seen in the Premier League this season. And this is including the players that have already been taken, like Caicedo and Rodriguez and the world-class midfielders that we talk about. AdamWharton has the potential to become world-class. He has a characteristic, especially with playing those loop passes over to the top to Cunha and Mbeumo. Just imagine this. We have Cunha, Mbeumo, and maybe a new left winger. And suddenly they are feeding off AdamWharton's loop passes. Think about what Casemiro does, but on a better regular basis. And feeding that along to Fernandes as well. And suddenly you're looking at the picture of what we could build. And AdamWharton, for what? They're quoting about 65 million pounds for AdamWharton. A midfielder who might not start for England because they want to go with Elliot Anderson and Declan Rice. Not saying that neither are bad, by the way, but neither can do the ball progression from deep or taking the first phase play from the centre backs quite like AdamWharton can. They're both box-to-box bombing midfielders, but they're no first phase player. And guys, first phase players are very rare in this game, to the point where I think AdamWharton is a very, very rare breed. And if we don't act right now, Liverpool's going to take him probably. And if Liverpool take him, guys, we're going to be regretting him probably like we regretted Salah, right? There was a world where we could have got Salah, or we could have got even Mane, if you want to talk about. And years later, we're thinking, we should have gone for him. That's exactly what AdamWharton will become. Because this is not a player that we can really replace that easily. And if you want a player to play CDM, who can bomb forward, yes, but he's primarily a centre defensive midfielder who gives those centre backs a third option to play into. So he's going to be the one slotting in a back 3 when we're defending. And this is going to give you the foundations for any Premier League team, a Champions League winning team that we're trying to build as Man United. So what do you guys think? What's your picks for CDM your top 3 picks. Comment that all down below, and I'll see you all in the next one.